Hello. So, I have a big idea. I know exactly what it is in my mind. Don't know how to bring it to life. I have some ideas of how to bring it to life, but it's so complex. And I was just talking about this with my friend, and he pretty much said you either have to be a one man army, spend hella time building this thing out, and probably take years and years to build it all by yourself as a one man army. Or you can be a generalist leader where you're a leader, you do project management, team building, you get all the people that you need to build this thing. And I don't really like either of those options. I just want to do what I want. But I also want to build this thing. And if building this thing requires one of those two, then that sucks. So let me just explain what this thing is. So I want to build something. I don't have a name for it. Maybe like Mind Hub or Universal Mind. That's kind of too long. Single Brain. I don't really have a name for it yet, but pretty much. So the way when I first thought of it, the way that I first imagined it is there's an interface, and on this interface you can enter concepts. So say you have a concept title. So let's say the word television. That's the title, television. And so you can enter in the title, and then so that's one thing, and then you have one other thing, and that is that a description. So a description of that concept title. So concept title, concept description. And you can do this for anything. It doesn't have to be a word, it could be like a letter, the letter S. So it's like, what is the letter S? The letter S is this yada yada yada. Or a television is yada yada yada. And you describe it. Because when we talk now, this is just an example of why this is useful. When you talk to someone, the underlying concept of what you're talking about is usually, after a while, understood. But the words we're using, not everybody has the same understanding of each word. I can almost guarantee if you ask your friend, how do you define this word? It's going to be different than how you define this word. And sorry about that. So this would be a way to take the realities of everybody on Earth and see and combine them, compare them. Right now, we have no way to compare the realities of everybody. And this would be incredibly useful. So, and this could also scale up to questions. So, a question could be a concept title itself, and then there could be a description for that question. So, then this could scale into huge things like you could replace Google search using this. Right now, Google search uses algorithms and it's not great, and it can be biased and centralized. Whereas if we used a node of literal concepts, literal ideas, literal straight from your brain, I guess it's a little limited by technology, but I don't know how limited it'd be. I haven't thought through that yet. But you'd have a literal node. So a node of concepts. Each concept is a node. And then when people Google search, it can kind of, all these nodes of concepts are linked together and have their own descriptions, and then the links have descriptions, and then there's like words that make parts of sentences, and then it's like a neural network pretty much. And that can be used, this concept can be used, and we can get statistics like how many people have similar descriptions for concepts, and whichever one is there's the most of, whatever description of a concept there is the most of, then that is more likely to be closer to truth. Not always, so you gotta be careful. It may not be. Maybe the majority of society has it wrong and is confused, but it's another signal. It'll be a signal to say this concept is most likely true, because people, when they describe it, people seem to agree on it. So there's all kinds of implications of this, but I know for a fact it's needed. It's just figuring out how to build it. I'm struggling, but I'm hoping that maybe making videos like this, I can get the idea out, because right now it's just in my brain and a few other brains across the world. It's in my friend Garrett's brain. He had already been thinking about it way before me. The way I think about it's a little bit different than how he thinks about it, which is interesting. That's exactly what we're talking about here. Concepts, and these concepts have similarities, but they're also different. So it's like me and him have concepts in our brain, and it's like, how different are the concepts in our brain and for this project I'm talking about, and how similar are they? Because I don't know what it was like for his subjective experience, but when he talked about it, I was like, oh shit, that sounds very similar to what I'm thinking about, except a little bit different in this way. For me, I'm thinking like from my own worldview, which would be a lot to explain, but that's the thing. If we have this, we can get our worldviews on, we can compare them. That's what I'm really excited about. I want to be able to see other people's worldviews. I want to be able to compare it. I have this crazy worldview. Like, for example, I think that humans are information. We're just like, it's too complex not to understand. Anybody can understand it. It's too complex to explain shortly, but I have written an article on this, but basically, from what we've observed, there was this material universe, and then the material universe started observing itself, and then it became conscious when it started observing itself, or maybe a little bit later on. And yeah, basically we are the universe observing itself. It became self-aware, and that is us. And then you gotta define data, and you gotta define information, and I have my own definitions for that. And yeah, basically we are just information that is aware of itself. So that's my crazy worldview. I want to compare mine to other people, and then let's see if we can figure this thing out. Let's figure this crazy universe out. It's amazing. It's awesome. I want to figure it out. I think about that every day. Yeah. So, I'm umming a lot, aren't I? I think that's a sign that I'm excited about this idea. So, I just wanted to get that out, and I hope I can make videos and kind of get this idea out there. I think there has to be structure to the idea. So it's in my head and there's some structure, but I think to make it actually come into the world, I need to structure it. Me, a team, someone, we need to structure it and get it out there. Else it'll never get out of our brains and it'll never happen. So, and I don't think we need to worry too much about structuring it wrong. That is something I worry about, which is why I say that. I think if we structure it wrong, at least that'll show the next person that tries to structure it again how this concept, this project should be. Like they'll just rework it in the better way. So, yes, that's the idea. I want to be able to compare realities between every human in the world. I want to be able to see them. I want to see what I believe this about the world. What, or not even, it doesn't even have to be that deep. That's I love deep stuff, so I just want to know how other people's realities are. But it could be as simple as I want to know how my friend defines this word, or how they define some concept, or maybe we're both in medical school and maybe they have a better definition for some word that we're learning. So yes, that's the general idea. Yeah. Let me know what you think about it. Yeah, see you guys.